Five, four, three, two, one. Ignition. Uh, ooh, oh, 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 uh, ooh, whoa, 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 What up, people? Welcome to another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, best in the world at what he does. I'd like to wish each and every one of y'all a very happy new year. I hope everybody had a great Christmas, a great Hanukkah, a great Kwanzaa, a great New Year's, a great holiday season. Yes, we're 5 days into the new year, and chaos is abound. Chaos is abound. First and foremost, I didn't know that the U.S. had beef with Venezuela. I didn't know that the beef was so severe that we actually had to go in there and regulate. I didn't know the beef was so severe that we had to go and regulate and pretty much um, debo them for their natural resources. I will get into that later. Yes, but since this has been such a chaotic beginning of the year, I'm going to an old time classic in which I'm going to hit every piece of news that's in my circumference. Hence, why I'm going to call this the award tour with Mike Steph and his man. Besides the fact that Mike Steph and his man is actually just Mike Steph, these are the topics that I am going to tackle. Of course, I'm going to have to talk about my New York Jets and their horrific end of the season, their horrific into an embarrassing season. Dare I say, probably the worst season in my lifetime? Yeah, just might be that way. Yeah, but I'm going to talk about their embarrassing into the season, the 35-8 loss to the Buffalo Bills that actually wasn't as close as the score indicated. Then I will get into my political bag. Yeah, my political bag. And I will talk about both the world at large and I will talk about the world that I know, the world that I deal with, the world that affects me on an everyday basis. I will talk about NYC, New York City to be exact. Zohran Mamdani beginning his mayoral term in understated fashion. And to be honest, something was spoken during his inauguration block party that to me was kind of cringeworthy. I get it. I get the fact he's a young blood. I get the fact that he wants to have that street cred. And tell you the truth, I probably accepted better from him than old man Eric Adams talking about how he likes to chill in the barbershop after hours, sipping some yak, blowing some sour, you know, talking that talk. But yeah, I'll talk about Zohran Mamdani in his first couple days in office. Then I will go into the world at large, but I'm not going to go as in depth that I would like to because I feel like I owe it to not only myself but you, the masses, to let things play out just a little bit more before I go really into the weeds. But I would not be Mike Steph if I did not talk about um, the Orange Man down in Washington directing our troops to Venezuela of all places to apprehend their president on some drug charges and so forth, when everybody knows the real deal. And for him to actually say that, the fentanyl that's being trafficked out of Venezuela, the drugs that are being trafficked out of Venezuela are this era's weapons of mass destruction to a certain degree. The drugs, yes. What he's talking about, nah, I ain't jacking it. And last but not least, see how I just start truncating everything to the world that I know? The MTA fears the fear increase went into effect yesterday, January 4th, 2026. The base fare went from $2.90, which was an odd price to begin with, to $3. Yes. Not only that, the Metro card is over with. Done. If you have one and you have some money, great. You can use it. If you do not have one, you can no longer get one. And if you have one with money that doesn't equal $3, guess what? You're going to have to get rid of that card, or should I say, take that card to your closest customer service center and get that money transferred over to an Omni card. Yes, the Metro card is dead and buried. And we have a lot of backlash going on to this in the city about them raising the fare hike again and how they're misappropriating funds that can be used to not raise the fare and actually, improve service. But I, Mike Steph, have thoughts on these people who say such things that I don't particularly agree with. And you might not agree with me, but that's what makes this, as far as I know, well, at least at this present time, a democracy. I can agree to disagree. You can agree to not agree with me. And that's how the world goes. Well, at least that's how freedom of speech goes. Anyway, with all that being said, I guess we got to get this show on the way, because in the immortal words of someone from the Doggy Style album, well, tell you the truth, might have been Snoop Dogg himself. I don't believe it was. My shaft is long, but my time is short, because I have to kind of, complete this podcast in time to take my lovely sister-in-law, what's the best way I could describe her? Joy Oo, out for her birthday. Which birthday? I'm not telling y'all. That's not a man's place to tell a female age on their birthday. Yes, Main Event K. Come on. Say hi. Say Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Yeah, that's Main Event K in the background, getting her bag, because she's going out. Yes, I know. Remember when she was just a small, soft voice in the background, helped me go over SummerSlam, helped me go over Money in the Bank. I believe it was Money in the Bank 2022. And now she's a young woman getting herself ready to go out to dinner with a friend of hers. That's all I will say. I'm not going to put her business out there. So, with all that being said, I'm going to get out of here because I just really lost train of thought. So, without further ado, good night, mwah, and goodbye. Bang!
Salty thoughts of Mike Steph, this marks a new beginning. Thanks for supporting a total reinvention. The soul is still here, but the vibe's a little different. Unpredictable, hide the kids and the women. Sports of all sorts, music mixed for living. Rep New York City, but hate the politicians. Always bring the heat, Steph bacon in the kitchen. Big shout to y'all, I appreciate the listen. Donnie put the rest, but I'm still in the best. In the word of what I do, all y'all know the rest. I live it, I breathe it, I'm the whole definition. The pinnacle, the ultimate, I'm on a new mission. The salty thoughts of Mike Steph, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, the best in the world at what he does. Tap in.
The New York Jets season came to an embarrassing close yesterday in Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, right outside of Buffalo, New York, with the 35-8 loss against the backup-laden Buffalo Bills. I kind of refrained from really engaging in this team the last couple weeks. Matter of fact, the last month to be exact, after that Miami game because I already knew what time it was. We're putting Brady Cook back there on a regular basis. Every week, slowly but surely, people are coming up with phantom injuries. We actually moved from, I believe, 5th in draft positioning to number 2 in the draft. A draft that there's probably really one consensus number 1 quarterback, even though we're in need of a quarterback. But we have all this cachet of assets, draft picks, first round draft picks, second round draft picks, over $100 million in cap room. But the problem is we don't know. We know we don't have a quarterback. We don't know if we have a coach. New York Jets rookie head coach Aaron Glenn stood defiantly, and that was part of his problem from the jump. But I digress. He stood defiantly in front of reporters after his team was embarrassed by 23 or more points for the 5th consecutive week and took accountability for the mess that has taken place on his watch. And I quote, "This season is on me," Aaron Glenn said. "I let the players down. I let the organization down. And that burns me. But here's what I do know. I know the reason why I came here. And I'm not going to waver from my beliefs on what I think wins games in this league. I am very confident in myself. I'm very confident in this organization. I'm very confident in our owner. Why? I don't know. I guess because he's giving him generational money. I'm very confident in Mooj, general manager Darren Mooj, that we're going to work our ass off to get this ish exactly where it needs to be." These words that were delivered to the mass of reporters was exactly what his supposed message to his players was supposed to be in the aftermath of the game. The Jet players, amongst those who have been here more than 1 year, actually amongst those who've been here more than 1 month, most notably Jermaine Johnson, would have no part of Aaron Glenn leading into all this blame. It's definitely been the worst season I've been a part of as a team, and the key word is a part of, Jermaine Johnson said. "I've got my hands in it. My hands are bloody. Everybody's hands are bloody in this. So for him to say that it's on him, I don't fully agree. Everyone's hands are dirty." Is that an admission of guilt? Is that an admission of we didn't play to our fullest potential? Is that an admission that we gave up on this coach weeks ago before he decided to come up with this quote unquote plan, this diabolical plan to actually embetter themselves for a better pick? I doubt it. Do you know that the Jets finished the season? The New York Jets finished this season with the embarrassing distinction of playing an entire NFL season without making not one interception, not one. We played Mitch Trubisky, the turnover machine from back in the days in Chicago, and we allowed him to torch us for almost 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, and we couldn't get not one interception out of him, not one. No team in the NFL, no team in NFL history had done that since statistics for that began being recorded in 1933. 1933. So that's 92 years ago. There has not been one team in 92 years that went through an entire regular season in various amounts. 12 games, 14 games, 16 games, 17 games. And I had one interception. Not one. Before this season, the San Francisco 49ers held the record for fewest interceptions with 2 way back in 2018. To put this embarrassment more into focus, how about this? The Chicago Bears entered Sunday having made an NFL high 22 interceptions, followed by the Jacksonville Jaguars with 21 interceptions, closely followed by the Los Angeles Chargers with 19 interceptions, and the Seahawks and Texans were tied with 18 apiece. Do you know that the New York Jets played 17 different players? 17 different players in the secondary of the season? And not one had a pick. Not one. Opposing quarterbacks threw 515 passes, which were 515 chances of getting an interception. They threw for 3,674 yards against our putrid defense, with 36 touchdowns and not one interception. 36-0 ratio. Meanwhile, entering Sunday, 87 players around the league had at least one interception. At least one. Oh, yeah. Wait, it gets worse. The New York Jets also set an NFL record for fewest takeaways in a season with 4. That's right. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Quattro. See, I could be bilingual in talking about the ineptitude. They bettered the record previously held by those frisky San Francisco 49ers of 2018, who forced 7 turnovers that year. All 4 of the Jets' takeaways came on forced fumbles. And tell you the truth, 3 of them came on a forced fumble because one that's counted as a turnover was actually a block kick in week 2. For context, the Bears entered Sunday with 32 takeaways. The Jags had 30. The Steelers and Texans both had 26 takeaways, and the Seahawks have 25. Do you know what all those teams have in common that the Jets aren't? They're all playoff teams. So I don't know what philosophy that Aaron Glenn is holding on and standing on the square on, that says he knows what it takes to win in this league. And if he knows, why the hell is he not doing it? You see, the New York Jets record of 3-14 is the 3rd worst in franchise history and ties for the 2nd most losses in a season. The Jets were 2-14 in 2020 under then coach Adam Gase. Y'all remember Adam Gase? Crackhead Adam Gase. Y'all remember him? And we were 1-15 in 1996 under the stewardship of Rich Kotite. Finally, the Jets have had double digit have had double-digit losses in 26 of their 66 seasons in existence. That's 39%. 39% of the time we have ended the season with double-digit losses, including 9 of the last 10 seasons. That's not even worth a boo, to tell you the truth. Do y'all know what really, over the last couple months, in my sporadic appearances on the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, I have prided myself to be a man that's a little bit more tame, a little bit less sodium, a little bit more even keeled, a little bit more calm, dare I say. And tell you the truth, it hasn't been really by design. It's just the way of natural progression. But you know, the one thing that can get me riled up, and this is part of the reason why I have neglected to talk about the Jets on a constant basis over the last month and a half, is the ineptitude of these New York Jets. The fact that we have people in places of power in the Jets that don't give a rat's behind about any of the people who patronize the Jets. I got this flag opening day against the Steelers. A day in which, even though we lost, gave me some inkling of hope, not only for that game, not only for this season, but the future. Gave me a inkling of hope that just maybe, we might have the right man in place. Just maybe, all the bravado that he was spewing since the time he took over this position was going to lend himself to, dare I say, the glory days of Rex Ryan, who, unfortunately, I'm actually pining for, even though I know it's way too late. To tell you the truth, I don't think Rex would have done any worse. At least one thing would have happened. We would have had respect in this league. This league does not respect us. This league does not, forget about fearing us. We are the laughingstock of the league. And I just don't understand. Well, actually, unfortunately, I do understand why we're the laughingstock of the league. Because we put on performances like we've done this season. The Cleveland Browns, for all their ineptitude, they won their last 2 games. They actually was able to celebrate on enemy field, on enemy lines, when their great players, historic accomplishment in Myles Garrett. The Detroit Lions pulled themselves up out of bootstraps and said, nah, we ain't going out like that. Yeah, I know we fell woefully short of expectation, but guess what? We're going into Chicago and we're whipping their behind. The Las Vegas Raiders, who are guaranteed the #1 pick, fought until the last second this past Sunday to beat, yes, a shell of themselves, but to beat an arch rival, a division rival in the Kansas City Chiefs. And then they immediately fired their coach. Even the Atlanta Falcons, who at one point in time were 3-7, 4-9, won their last 4 games and played spoiler on their way because they said, you know what? If we ain't getting in the playoffs, guess what? So we're knocking somebody else out. I believe the last loss they had was either against Seattle or against the Jets. And don't get me wrong. I mean, don't get me started about what Atlanta did. You would think Raheem Morris was piping Arthur Blank's wife. For them to fire him immediately after the game, like he gave y'all back-to-back 8 and 9 seasons. I mean, tell you the truth, isn't that along the same lines that Arthur Smith gave you? And Arthur Smith probably had more than 2 years, right? I think he at least had 3 or 4. Pete Carroll got canned this morning. Okay, great. I mean, there's a whole laundry list of teams. The Browns got rid of Kevin Stefanski. The Raiders got rid of Pete Carroll. The Falcons got rid of Raheem Morris. The Cardinals, who don't even get the amount of vitriol and laughter that the New York Jets did, they got rid of Jonathan Gannon. But yet we have teams going out their way to embarrass us. But even more so, we have a team that doesn't want to stop the embarrassment. It makes no sense. Like teams come up and they see the Jets on their schedule, especially this year, and this is what they were doing in the locker room before the beginning of the game. That's how long they've been laughing with the laughing stock. Now, I'm going to take a little flashback to when hope sprung eternal. But at the same time, I did know what my plight would be as a Jets fan. I just didn't know it was going to be like this. Flashback to September when hope sprung eternal. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness, that seems like years ago. And then, even though we was rocking and rolling, something told me this was not going to be sustainable. Why? Life of a Jets fan, right? Game ain't over. Right after a freaking fumble. Of course, Aaron Rodgers' bitch ass scored the touchdown. Got all these Steelers fans in this bitch. It's all good. Game ain't over yet. Yeah, the game wasn't over yet, but the game soon would be over. And little did we know, our season was over. Because it seemed like from that point on, whatever message that Aaron Glenn was getting across to the guys fell on deaf ears. Even after we had that slight uptick after the trading deadline, when we got rid of Sauce and we got rid of Quinton, there was an uptick. We were 3-2 out of 5 games. It looked like whatever blueprint he was trying to steal from Detroit was actually working. And then we met the buzzsaw, which was the Miami Dolphins, and got punked at home. It was like 21-0 before the first quarter ended. And from that point on, gone. So now we got the number 2 pick. Are we going to force a square peg in a circular hole and try to force ourselves to come away with a quarterback? And then Aaron Glenn's message means nothing? Or we realize that Aaron Glenn is way over his head and we have to get rid of him either middle of next year or the end of next year, and then we got to start all over? We're not getting rid of him now. That's a fait accompli. He's not getting fired. So all my Jets faithful, if you thought you were gonna get him, if you thought he was gonna get fired, just walk up in the wrong tree. He's not getting fired. They're gonna give him another year. They're gonna run him back out there. Personally, what I believe we should do, since we have all this cachet of assets, of picks, is we got the number 2 pick. Unless there's a skill player, sans quarterback, who's worth that number 2 pick, I would try to get a ransom for that number 2 pick for somebody who's starving more than us for a quarterback. Give that up and be very prudent and hit and damn sure hit on every freaking pick. So next year we ain't winning nothing anyway. Whether we have a quarterback or not, we're not winning nothing. I would fortify every other position on this team. Still have our cachet of 3 first-round picks next year. And go to war then. Hopefully with somebody, unfortunately, hopefully with a different general at the helm. Because as much as I was a proponent of Aaron Glenn, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Won't do it. Will not do it. Just can't do it. Because personally, this is what I feel that Aaron Glenn, but this is what I feel the rest of the NFL is doing to us as long as we have Aaron Glenn in the position of head coach.
I just did, and I pissed. Oh, you want to give me some? Bro, why you trying to be funny?
As a colleague of mine aptly put, somebody similar called them a drip dry bee. See, I'm trying to refrain from cursing, but a drip dry witch, which is crazy. So it seems like the NFL wants to be a drip dry over us. But then at the same time, if we was on fire, guess what the NFL would not do? Piss on us. Damn, this is so depressing. So depressing. Get direct, the orange man into effect. Oh, attack Venezuela. Oh, attack Venezuela. And I really, it's not a funny thing. I've just got a song in my head, Black Man's Effect, by BDP back in 1990. The orange man in office, 45/47. He directed U.S. troops to Venezuela to capture Venezuela, quote unquote, dictator slash president Nicolas Maduro early Saturday in an extraordinary military operation. Now, this is quote, this is from the New York Post. So I need to put that out there so people don't think that this is really my thinking on the matters. Just want to give credit where credit is due, or give blame where blame is due. I continue. The U.S. captured Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro on Saturday, in an extraordinary military operation to end the repressive regime of the fugitive, in quotes, leader, and usher a new dawn, also in quotes, of freedom to the embattled nation. Some 150 aircraft took part of Operation Absolute Resolve. Operation Absolute Resolve. I mean, I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Y'all can leave your answers to this question in the comments below. Are we ran by idiots? Is this country ran by idiots? You couldn't come up with a better name for a stupid operation than Operation Absolute Resolve. Does that even make any sense? Even back in the 90s, when Bush Part 1 decided to try to debo Iraq for their oil, Operation Desert Storm. Makes sense. Operation Storm the Desert. Even in Spaceballs. Spaceballs, yes. 1987, Mel Brooks, Spaceballs. Remember when they were on the search? Not the search for more money, which was what should have been Spaceballs 2, but I guess they got enough money from Spaceballs 1. But remember when they were on the search for oxygen because their planet was out of oxygen and they were in planet whatever, and President Scrooge or Dark Helmet instructed his troops to comb the desert. Guess what they did? They literally combed the desert. They had multiple troops out there with big ass combs combing the desert. And of course, you had the black troops with they were underfunded and they didn't have combs. No. Did they have a comb? No, they had a pick. And when they were asked, what did they find? What did the black troops say? We ain't find ish. Like, look, we got an effing comb. We got an effing pick. They got combs. But still, literally, comb the desert. This freaking administration, Operation Absolute Resolve. Operation Absolute Resolve, which came after months of mounting pressure by the Trump administration and lasted just under 2.5 hours. Pinpoint strikes at 2 a.m. around the capital city of Caracas, targeted at the Generalissimo Francisco de Miranda Air Base, Port La Guerrera, Something Airport, and Tiana, sending plumes of smoke and fire into the night air. Wow. Look at our show of strength. Look at our show of strength. Having the natives run for terror, run in horror, run for safety. Oh my God. We're such a powerful country. Maduro, 63, and wife, Cisla Flores, 69, was seized just steps from the steel doors of his high-security Fort Tiana military compound, which President Trump said U.S. troops were able to blast through in mere seconds. I wonder why. Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States, Trump said at a late morning press conference. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil. Now Maduro will never, ever again be able to threaten an American citizen or anybody from Venezuela. Maduro and his wife arrived on U.S. soil at Stewart Air National Guard Base in Newburgh, New York. It's funny how they're bringing them to Newburgh, New York. Very ironic, and it's actually very distasteful. Very distasteful that we're bringing them to. Just after 4:45 p.m. Saturday afternoon, roughly 12 hours after they were taken in custody by joint U.S. military, they faced a litany of drug trafficking charges and faced the full wrath of American justice after months of increasing tension between the U.S. and Venezuela. The couple could be in court as early as Monday. You mean to tell me, out of all the atrocities throughout the world, out of all the civic injustices throughout the world, the humanitarian emergencies throughout the world, the U.S. decided to play policeman against Venezuela? I don't get it. I mean, I do get it. I know what the long game is. Everybody knows what the long game is. It's just the fact that it's not even the fact that he was allowed to do it. Because no, he really wasn't allowed to do it. This is the second time he has used military force bypassing the Congress. Second time in a year. The United States stunned the world on Saturday by launching military strikes in Venezuela and ending his 13-year rule in an operation that the Trump administration framed as a demonstration, once again, of American power. And the president, the Orange Man himself, boasted that the U.S. possessed capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely imagine. You know who I wish could read this? Or, matter of fact, you know who I wish would reenact the press conference? And I have a strange feeling it's going to be reenacted in the lead up to tonight. Trump, Sugar Honey Iced Tea. I'm supposed to be going out, and we got Roar downtown Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. Traffic is going to be out. Regardless, I wish Becky Lynch, because people do realize that her character, her promo style is patterned after Donald Trump and his delusional ways and the way he speaks, his speaking patterns. Y'all do realize that, right? I hope y'all do. That's what makes it hilarious. It makes it even more hilarious that the powers that be, I believe, don't have a clue that what she's doing is mocking their great leader of theirs. And she's doing it right in front of their face. Wonderful, to be honest. Just for that fact alone, even though I soured on Becky before she took a hiatus for a year, wonderful work. I'm not the only one saying it. Sports Illustrated saying it. Bleacher Report is saying it. ESPN is saying it. Everybody's saying beautiful work. Russia and China swiftly condemned the strikes and called for the release of Maduro, who had been brought to the U.S. to face criminal charges. Iran and Cuba denounced what they called a violation of international law, their objections carrying an edge of unease that they, too, could find themselves in Washington's sights. Oh, you don't say. They've been itching to show their military might. In reality, what's happening is the Trump administration is literally using this country to enrich private donors, to enrich oil companies, to enrich the 1% as is. And they're literally using our military as thugs to go into other countries and take take the resources that we no longer able to manufacture ourselves. Did you ever think about, is there ever, have you ever thought about why did he, quote unquote, pretty much said that he was going to take over Greenland? Natural resources. Why he disrespects Canada at every whim and calls them the 51st state? That, listen, we can invade them all we want because they're part of us. Matter of fact, they're the 51st state. Natural resources. Why there's such a tug of war with us in Mexico? Natural labor. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting. The fact that we have leadership from another country under arrest, not only in our country, but in New York, not only in New York, downtown Brooklyn, in Brooklyn House. Do the knowledge to a nigga named Trigger, bad rude boy from the lands of Jamaica, who into U.S. Listen to Snakes from ODB, Return to the 36 Chambers. Who tried to stop my production? East New York, gun talk. Baltic to boardwalk. Bruise and burns. Dina, I saying firm, I can hold this. Mean I can hold mine down without a doubt. Niggas who front get snuffed out. There's lyrics in there. I like the F up in Brooklyn House. Diet on the diet. Talking in a riot. This is where we got dictator, president of this lawless country. How is that? Brooklyn House, downtown, Brooklyn Detention Center. Literally 10 minute, 15-minute drive away from my crib. Coincidentally, a 10-minute walk from where Monday Night Raw is going to be in effect tonight at the Barclays Center. So now, this is such an issue. This is such a flipping crap show. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. More to come. Like I said, I'm just doing surface level right now. But trust and believe, being the fact that the Jets are no longer a topic, the Mets act like the hot stove. We didn't pay the gas bill, and the Knicks they're struggling. But no fear. I get into basketball full throttle right around the All-Star break, so we're gonna have plenty of time to talk about this dastardly deed that's going on here by our country. Not too far, not too long after the strike of midnight on January 1st, New Year's Day, a triumphant Zohran Mamdani took the oath of office to become the Big Apple's mayor, kicking off an uncharted era with a proud socialist at the helm of the nation's largest city. The 34-year-old Queen State Assemblyman was sworn in on the Quran. I don't know what's so controversial about that. If that's his religious belief, why would he swear in on a Bible if he believes in Allah and he believes in the Quran? Like, but whatever. He was sworn in as the city's 112th mayor and its second youngest by State Attorney General Letitia James, her scam ass, on Thursday morning below City Hall Park in a grand abandoned old subway stop with his wife, artist Ruma Dajali, by his side. Now, I'm going to stop right there and ask you this. Look at the picture. That's an abandoned subway stop. It's beautiful. It's a place where, if you're familiar with New York, or if you've ever been on the train system, you have the current Brooklyn Bridge City Hall station on the IRT, the 4, 5, and 6. And then, but that was a replacement for this artistic wonder, which was the original City Hall station under the 4, 5, and 6. Do you see how clean that place is? Do you see how sparkling that place is? Do you see the fact that they got lights in that place? I wonder how much money was used to make that not a usable place for the public, but a place in which he can make a stand at for the beginning of his term. And this is something that just popped in my mind, to be honest. Does anybody think that that was strategic? Hear me out. With all the rhetoric that's been going on over the last couple of months, ever since he won the election and back in November, with all the rhetoric saying that, oh my God, he's going to take over, we're going to have and all that stuff going on, which I believe was distasteful. I mean, listen, I am down for a politically correct joke as much as the rest of them, but I'm not going to go there. Do you think this was a strategic way of doing his this oath ceremony without the threat of assassination, without the threat of violence? Because that's a controlled environment. You can't get down in those tunnels unless you get down in those tunnels. I think that, I tell you the truth, looking at it more and more, I think that was a very shrewd move for him to do that. If you want to look at it from another point of view, you can look at it from this, that he's the underdog that took over, that finally, love you, have a great day, be safe, and I'll speak to you when you come back. Yes, you can. Come give me a hug. Bye-bye. I was talking to Main Event K. She's on the way out the door. Down since day K shit. Down since day one ish. Okay. Where was I? Yeah, since he's the underdog from the underground. Shout out to Sami Zayn. This was actually a very shrewd way of really eschewing what people believe him to be, which was to be a silver spoon baby, and to say that, listen, I'm not above. I'm getting my hands dirty and working from the bottom up. So I'll give him. Listen, I see the vision. A quote: "This is truly the honor and the privilege of a lifetime," Mamdani said after swearing to faithfully discharge his duties as mayor and paying the $9 filing filing fee in cash. Why did it need to be included? I don't know. I don't remember hearing them say, well, billionaire Michael Bloomberg paid his $9 filing fee in cash for his third stolen election. But I digress. Mamdani also wished New Yorkers both inside this tunnel and above a Happy New Year. Now, when Old City Hall Station first opened in 1904, one of New York's 28 original subway stations, it was a physical monument to a city that dared to be both beautiful and build great things that would transform working people's lives, Mamdani said about the old stop. That ambition need not to be a memory confined only to our past, nor must it be isolated only to the tunnels beneath City Hall. It will be the purpose of the administration fortunate enough to serve New Yorkers from the building above. Mamdani's subway station ceremony, a small event with few members of the media in attendance, was followed later by a jubilant block party. Well, at least that's what it was supposed to be. Pictures, block party, block party, block party in the near frigid temperatures. Scores of Zohran Mamdani fans who braved the freezing temperatures to celebrate the new mayor as he was publicly sworn into office Thursday were left disappointed by the badge that the politician had promised. Around 10,000 supporters stood outside City Hall during the event billed as an inauguration for the new era block party by Mamdani staff, crammed into several barricaded pens without access to bathrooms or any food concession stands. Sorry, I'll call foul here. Listen, do you know how many thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people cram inside Times Square each and every New Year's Eve with the same restrictions? No bathroom, no food concession. People wear Pampers. There were videos where when they moved the barricade for them to get into the area, people were running 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Does anybody ever report on that? Do you know the stench that's in Times Square immediately after the ball drops from the people of defecating and urinating on themselves, all for the sake of being in Times Square to watch the ball come down, which 9 times out of 10 doesn't even come down on time? But yet, people who decided to frequent this block party, what did y'all think? Y'all really thought it was going to be a free-for-all? Did y'all really think it was going to take a page from back in the days in the boroughs for block parties? Which you thought they were going to have a DJ booth hooked up to the lamppost for electricity? Did you think this was going to be an updated episode of The Get Down from Netflix? Which, by the way, was a great series. And also, by the way, the lot in which they filmed the majority of that series was not in the Bronx, but in East New York, Brooklyn, Brownsville, East New York, Brooklyn. And that lot is now a building for quote unquote low income housing. Just give you a little heads up on that. It's definitely not a block party, said Danny Maher, 30, an Astoria resident who told the Post he had been expecting a mix of food and music at the New Year's Day's festivities. And whose fault is that? What you expected? Expectations and realities are two different things. Did he say, oh yeah, come out for a day full of food and fun? No. He said, come out for an inauguration that we'll have for the masses. That's what he said. And listen, I'm not the biggest Mamdani fan, but I give him respect. And I'm not going to allow for any slander to be said against him for stuff that y'all assumed. You know what they say about people who assume things. They make an ass out of themselves. It seems like Mr. Danny Maheber, made an ass out of himself, assuming that there were going to be a mix of food and music at the New Year's Day festivities. Please. Revelers observed speakers such as AOC Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Bernie Sanders on a series of big TV screens set up along Broadway as 4,000 invited guests sat more comfortably in City Hall's outdoor plaza to witness Mamdani take the oath of office. While Mamdani's fans were still excited for the new administration to get underway, they weren't impressed by the supposed block party on the frigid day when temperatures dropped to the mid-20s. It's not exactly what I was expecting, said Brooklyn resident Shane Turner, age 30. I was expecting food and music. Once again, what you was expecting and reality are two different things. Do you really think they were going to have the dignitaries out in the open without the sufficient amount of security to let y'all, the feeble masses, be able to grovel at their feet? No. I mean, people think, I swear, people must have fell and bumped their mother effing head if they really believe that everything is what they expected. That's the problem with society. Everybody expects things, but don't have a grasp on reality. I could have watched this from home, added a 25-year-old Queens woman who declined to give her name. How about this? Maybe you should have watched it at home. Do I go out on parades? Do you know, even though that was one of my dreams, well, not dreams, but one of my things that I would like to check off a bucket list of mine would to be able to go to the Macy's Day Parade in person. But guess what? It's better for me, both when I was young and at my tender age of 49, to keep my black ass home out the cold to watch it in the comfort of my bed. Is that my fault? That I would expect it to be warm and comfortable on a beginning of January day, New Year's Day to be exact, in New York City. That's why she declined to give her name, because she knew she would talk about a bunch of gibberish. One woman who did not want to be identified said Thursday morning leading up to the ceremony that she had been waiting to get into the viewing area for 90 minutes. The police officers have not been informed about anything. They don't know which entrance or where everything is at, she said. I'm really, really unhappy. Attendees were asked to arrive by 11 a.m. ahead of the 1 p.m. ceremony, which started 30 minutes late. Well, you know what they say. I wonder what kind of time were they running under? Were they running under daylight saving time? Were they running under Eastern Standard Time? Were they running under Eastern Steph Time? Were they running under? I'll leave that silence for y'all to fill in the blank in the comments. Mamdani's camp billed the event as a public block party along the historic Canyon of Heroes that would have designated viewing areas for tens of thousands to gather and participate in the ceremony, ensuring the day belongs to all New Yorkers. But his team also warned on the website that there would not be any portable bathrooms due to safety concerns and no food for sale within the block party. While Mamdani's officials advised attendees that there were nearby markets and eateries for grub, attendees needed to leave the barricaded pens and go through security again to re-enter. So you were giving the opportunity. Matter of fact, you were giving a warning that, listen, ain't gonna be no food, ain't gonna be no bathrooms, ain't gonna be no porta potties. You're going to be round up in these pens. But you're more than welcome to go and get something from the local eateries that helps the actual economy of the city. And you're allowed in, but you got to go through the whole security process. So if you are one of those who did that and stood there and peed on yourself and defecated on yourself and then want to cry to the New York Post about, oh my God, it's not what I expected, guess what? You're a damn lie. You're a damn lie. And you got exactly what you deserve, because what you expected and what you deserve are two different things. Lastly, I am not disappointed, said Turner, the Mamdani devotee from Brooklyn. I came here to witness history. For the past 4 years, felt like hell under the previous mayor. Listen, all I can say is this. Eric Adams never had y'all out in the streets catching pneumonia, at risk for RSV, at risk for this super bug, the super flu, to congratulate him on winning the election, to congratulate him for his 4 years of terror. In that case, I guess you could say, score one for the bad guy. Yesterday morning, January 4th, 2026, the MTA's latest fare hike went into effect, and exasperated penny pinching strap hangers forced to fork over even the extra 10 more cents, were shaking their head at the extra expense. Subway rides will now cost $3 per tap, up from the $2.90 from way back in 2023. These quotes are very, very interesting. I just know it's going to add up, said Mayan Crampton, 23, who regularly commutes into Manhattan from his New Jersey home in Hoboken. Fredid, 33, who regularly commutes from Chinatown in Manhattan, said, it's effed. Her friend, 41-year-old Sienna Steele, thought the MTA could focus on making better use of the funds it's already generating instead of asking New Yorkers to fork over even a dime more. The MTA constantly misappropriates funds. Instead of installing new turnstiles, they could actually improve the service, Steele said, referring to the transit system's seemingly endless attempts to deter fare jumpers who cost the MTA more than $400 million in lost fares last year. They're so concerned with people jumping the turnstiles. If rides were more affordable and more available to everyone, that wouldn't be an issue, Steele said, adding that in the past, she's been in positions where the fare increase could have certainly affected her. Well, guess what? Since you're so concerned with the MTA losing $400 million in lost fares, if rides were more affordable and accountable and available to everyone, that it wouldn't be an issue. How about this? How about you hold your fellow commuter? How about you hold your fellow New Yorker to the same standards that you do? Or are you one of the ones that sneak your little behind through the gate? Are you one of the ones who actually actively duck under the turnstile? Are you one of the ones who you say, you know what, I'm going to double up? Matter of fact, are you one of the ones that when you had an unlimited, people would come out and say, oh my God, oh my God? Yeah. So like I was saying, all these people who want to be up in arms about the fare raises, matter of fact, y'all don't need to be on camera, but y'all could give me some feedback. Y'all know the fare went up. I'm talking to my sister Joy Ooh, who's her birthday today, and my mother-in-law, which got so they came to see me. Well, not came to see me, they came to meet me so we can go out and pick up my wife so we can go eat. So, but neither here nor there. Y'all know they raised the fare yesterday, right? Yeah. All right, what you think about it?
I think they've been doing too much as it is, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do as far as me riding the buses and trains. It could be a whole lot better, but I don't think they should have went up on the fare. They need to fix
you can come closer.
Omni cards for them students and stop giving them paper and give them a physical card like a debit card formation of Omni card.
Now, one other thing. So, while I get the service could be better, I totally get that, right? Now, but one thing is, so do y'all believe that it's okay? So, how do y'all feel about the people who choose not to pay the fare while you continue to pay the fare?
That's right.
Why?
They should pay just like I had to pay.
So, matter of fact, so if you're on the bus, right? All right, you pay to get on the bus. I know. So you on the bus, right? And you see somebody sneaking their little behind to the back. Do you push them off?
No.
Does anybody else push them off?
No.
But at the same time, people are upset about raising the fare. Why do you think they're raising the fare? Because yes. So my thing is, the people who are upset about the fare being raised are the same people who either sneak their ass through the door, or like I know this one guy, and trust me, yeah, I know we're going all over the place, but I got to speed this up. This is one guy that is in my area. I mean, which is a regular of mine, and he make a point, and sometimes like, yo, but listen, to each his own. He makes a point that when he sees somebody going through that door, he tells me like, yo, get the F over here. What you doing? Italian dude. He'll literally stop, go in front of the door and be like, yo, nah, just like I pay my fare, pay your fare. Get your ass out of here. Get out of here. Yes. That's how me and him became friends. Oh, somebody's ring is going on. But long story short, because like I said, I'm getting ready to have to go. Long story short, do I believe that they should have raised the fare? No. But I will say this. Without divulging how I know, or divulging, like I told y'all don't need to know. People who know where I work. People who don't, figure it out. This was already laid in effect years ago. When they got that money years ago to start bettering the system up, put the countdown clocks up, to renovate the stations and everything, they made a deal to get that capital funding that every other year the fare was going to be raised. A lot of people don't remember that. They made an agreement that every other year the fare was going to get raised. The only reason why it didn't get raised every other year is because of the pandemic. So they put a freeze on it for a minute. Right? Like I said, don't get me wrong. I know the MTA F up a lot of money. They do. And people think the money going to the workers. Money ain't going to the workers. Trust and believe. It's not. Shoot, listen, we struggling. Those workers are struggling to make it every day. Just as everybody else is. So, and a lot of the workers, we don't really care. But they don't really care. And you know what? I'm really just putting my foot in my mouth right now. So, with all that being said, MTA fare hike, it is what it is. Y'all mother effers don't pay anyway. So the people who's complaining, do something about it. Go to the hearings. When they have hearings, yeah, I know they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. But there are few and far time between that when the community at large comes out in mass, they might not be able to stop the situation, but they will be able to prolong it. I've seen it happen in my neighborhood. There was a booth in the back that we had. My station has two ends, front and back. So there was a booth in the back that they were going to close, and the community came out in mass. Like, look, in the morning we need that booth there because two buses stop at that back booth, and everybody can't go to the front, and it's more convenient. And they did it for years, so it's possible. It's possible. So with all that being said, yeah.
You want this bag in case you want to put it up?
Well, people, that brings us to the end of another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for making me and this here podcast the one y'all choose to view and the one y'all choose to listen to. Will I be back next week? Probably not. It seems like this is going to be like a every other week thing until the end of the season, which is rapidly approaching. I also like to thank my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law for becoming very special guests, impromptu guests, if you will, on the podcast. And as much as I would love to have an elongated outro, if I continue to talk and I continue to have my wife wait for us to pick her up from her shoot job, then I will probably be sleeping in my car tonight. So, with all that being said, um, please check out the usual suspects. Please check out Gimmick Infringement on 19 Media Group YouTube channel. Drops each and every late Sunday night, early Monday morning, and is available on all streaming platforms where podcasts are available. Please check out me and my partner, the Mojo King, on Hidden Gems Football that drops each and every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and sometimes Monday during the NFL football season. The NFL playoffs are rapidly approaching, and we are going to be on our job like none other. So, and please check out the young OG from Chicago, Desmond Powell, and Hip to the Games each and every other Friday, also on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group and all streaming platforms that have a podcast are available. With all that being said, I'm going to get out of here because I'm just going to get out of here. So I will check y'all later, and goodbye.